Hi, Liam Ward here at LearnTheHarmonica.com with a special lesson for JP. Thanks for having me back, JP. Today we're looking at Lollipop Mama by William Clarke on a C harmonica. Now, there's only 15 seconds of playing. I couldn't believe how much he packed into this when I started looking into tabbing it out. William Clarke was an absolute master at putting subtle little nuances into his playing. We've got 6 lines to get through. We're going to go through each line nice and slow. The original track is very fast, as you will have heard at the beginning. If you do get it up to speed and you want to practice with me, go back to the start of the beginning and play along with me there. So the first line goes something like this. Now, you might recognise that line if you've seen my lesson on Duke by Little Walter, which is one of the most famous harmonica songs in history. That line is the opening line from Duke, or it's very similar to, so you might recognise it from that. I'm assuming you don't know it, so we'll go through it now. We've got 2 draw, and then 3 draw, 4 draw, 5 blow, and then 3 and 6 blow twice. Okay, so... Now, what am I doing at the end there? I'm playing an octave, and that's what I mean by the 3 and the 6 blow. Da da. I'm playing 3 blow and 6 blow at the same time. My tongue is down the middle and splitting, called a tongue block, so I'm splitting between the 3 and the 6, so that you play the 3 and the 6 at the same time, and you block the 4 and the 5 in the middle. Check my lessons on tongue blocking if you're not comfortable with that. But what that makes the line is bigger than it would normally be. So instead of, if you just played the 6 blow, it's a little bit thin. Makes it much, much bigger. Now, if you've listened to the track, you might have noticed something a little bit curious about this. Although it's a common feature of blues songs, the harmonica comes in before the rest of the band. What the harmonica does is gives the band a pickup, a little harmonica phrase, which is a cue for the band, and the band then joins at a set point. So if you're practicing this with a backing track, the backing track will probably come in on the first beat of the first bar of a 12-bar blues format, which this is. Hopefully I'm not going to get too technical for you now. I don't know what your kind of ability level is. But this line comes in before that first beat. It actually comes in after the 3rd beat of the previous bar. So between beats 3 and 4 of the previous bar. Now, if that's confusing, don't worry. All you have to do to bring this in is to go 1, 2, 3. Da, 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 da. What you don't want to do is count 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Da, da, da. It's not going to work, believe me. So when I was playing it at the start of the lesson, I counted it in. I counted it in my head, but I was counting in 1, 2, 3, ba da 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 da, and that da da is the 3/6 blow. The first of those 3/6 blows is the first beat of the first bar. That's where the band would come in. So we've done our little pickup. I hope that hasn't confused you at all, but it's useful to know these things. And although this isn't something to do with William Clarke's playing himself, it's a crucial part of your understanding as a blues player. So that's our first line, da 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 da. And then the second line, line B. I love this, and this is kind of the first example of one of the things I didn't even realise was there at first. There's these little kind of 3-note phrases in the middle that they're almost over before you notice it when it's full speed. I'll play it a little bit slower for you. So this is line B. Okay, so we've got, that's 5 draw, 4 draw, 5 blow, 5 draw. And then we've got these phrases that, as I say, there's so many notes in there. 4 draw, 5 draw, 4 draw, 5 blow, 5 draw, 4 draw. So it's a bit of a tongue twister almost. And if we add that to the first part, da 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 da. And when you get up to speed, there's a lot going on. And then 4 blow, 3 draw semitone bend, 3 draw unbent, natural note, and then 2 draw, and then 2 draw second bend, full step bend. Da doo da dum. And that takes us up to the 4 chord. So what I mean by that is we're getting to the end of the first 4 bars of the 12-bar blues. By the way, if you're not familiar with the 12-bar blues format, you can still play these notes, but it's really useful to know these things. So check out my lesson on 12-bar blues structure as well. But we're getting towards the end of the 1 chord, in this case the G chord, and it's going to change to the 4 chord, in this case the C chord. I'm telling you this because the next line, line C, is a little bit kind of quirky. What he actually does is he comes in a beat earlier than a lot of people would expect him to. A beat earlier than I expected him to, and even when I was tabbing it out, it wasn't until I really listened I went, oh yeah, he is doing that. So it's very common to have a new phrase on the first beat of the new chord. So when we get to bar 5, so we've done 4 bars of the first chord, when we get to bar 5, the first beat of that bar, it's common to come in with a new phrase there. He actually comes in a beat before that, a beat before the chord change. And it's just a little anticipation. What he's doing is suggesting the chord is coming. And he does something clever because he actually bends a note and releases it 1 beat in. So he releases it as the chord changes. It's a really, really cool thing to do. The actual technical side of line C is sort of easy. Basically, it's just a 4-draw bend that he releases. There's a little bit of a slide almost up from the 2-draw. That's the bit in brackets at the start of line C. But it's very subtle. I've put it in brackets because you could leave it out. You could just... It's just a 4-draw and he releases it. But, again, you might want to count 1, 2, 3 into that note. You're already playing the previous phrase, but you could practice playing this phrase on its own and counting 1, 2, 3. It comes in on the 4th beat. So the first line, we came in on the 3 and, which is between the 3rd and the 4th beat. This time we're coming in on the 4th beat. So we're going to 1, 2, 3. And you actually hold that 4 draw for that long, but he does some kind of hand wahs on there. At first I thought he was bending the note, and actually you could bend the note if you wanted to. It wouldn't be wrong in any sense. It's not quite what he's doing, but you might want to put vibrato on. He's actually, I think, he's doing a bit of a wah-wah. Now, I was just looking for a microphone which wasn't there then. He's using a microphone. He's getting a distorted sound through a microphone and through an amp as well. If you're holding the microphone, then you would bring the microphone away from the harmonica rather than acoustic tone where you kind of wah-wah with your hands. But you can practice on and off with those wahs. It's a really, really cool effect. And again, something that can easily pass you by and you could say, oh, I don't need to do that. That's not part of the tab strictly. But I would highly recommend looking at these things. These subtleties are what make the difference between an intermediate player, if you like, and an advanced player. It's not always about knowledge and technique. It's about choice of when and where to do things. And he's choosing to put that wah sound on this line C. So we'd have... And straight into line D. Really cool line. And again, I slowed this down because there's a lot of notes in there. It's easy to forget how fast this tune is. And so to play this line D at full speed is asking a lot. We've got that kind of triplet kind of phrase in the middle there, which I didn't notice at first. So we're going to take this really, really nice and slow. So we've got 4-draw bend, 3-draw, 4-draw, 2-draw, and then we have a 3-draw semitone bend that releases and then to a 4-draw, and then back to a 3-draw, and then a 2 below, and then a 1-draw. Try not to hit the 2-draw after that 3-draw, because I don't think he actually hits it. He's very smooth 3-draw onto a 2 below. Really tricky, especially at speed. Really, really cool. Lots of swing and lots of style to that line. That's joined on to line C. So when you play it at speed, they're almost like one line. I wanted to split them up because it would give us a chance to take it into bite-sized chunks. But at speed, they just join into each other. So if I play C and D together, 1, 2, 3. Now line E, not the most complicated thing in the solo, but there's still quite a lot going on and we can do quite a lot with it. It goes something like this. Now if I slow that down. There's a nice little movement on one of those notes. So we've got 1 draw and then we have 2 draw second bend that sort of releases up to sort of the first bend. It's not an exact science, but he kind of moves up around to the first bend, I would say. And then 1 draw twice, and then all on 4. Draw, blow, draw, blow, draw. So we put that together. And you can slap those notes, especially those notes on hole 4. If you've got that tongue slapping technique, check out my lessons on tongue slapping. If not, it's a really cool technique. William Clarke was great at it, and it just adds something to the line. But on its own, and that takes us straight into line F, our final line, with a little bit of a turnaround on which you can slap notes again. You might want to slap some of these notes on the turnaround, but line F in full. So we've got 4 draw, 4 blow, 4 draw, and then 3 draw semitone bend that kind of releases to a 3 draw, and then 4 draw, 3 draw. A lot going on there. Again, something you can miss at speed. And then 2 blow, 2 draw. And then that's the second half of line F. 1 draw, 2 draw. 3 draw semitone bend that releases to a 3 draw. 2 draw, 2 blow, 1 draw. Whoa, loads to take in. If you put that on the end of line E, so we've got tongue slaps, we've got tricky little phrases that you don't notice are there even at full speed. We've got a lot of things to take in with this. We've got some tricky bends, some hand wahs as well. We have had to rush through each line because we've only got so much time in this lesson, but I really recommend you take your time with this. It's 15 seconds of playing, but it's 15 seconds of one of the greatest harmonica players in history. So us mere mortals, we have to do a lot of practice on this. Please take your time with it, but most of all, make sure you enjoy it. I hope you've enjoyed your lesson with me today. I hope I'll be back again to do a lesson for JP Allen in the future. In the meantime, check out my own channel, learntheharmonica.com, and please give me your comments, your questions, and your feedback below the video as well. Click like before you go if you enjoyed the video, and I hope to see you again soon. Cheers.